Welcome to the Connect and Share Tech Summit. We're really excited to have you all join us today. This is our first session of the day, and we have three fabulous presenters who will be talking. But before we get to hear what they have to say, there's some housekeeping and norms that we want to cover. Ask that everyone mute your mic when you're not speaking. This is so that we can make sure the presenters are focused and they can present their content. There will be an opportunity for Q&A at the end. Make sure that you are using your display name. Make sure you use your name and, if possible, also your school. Because sometimes people come in as numbers or they're just single names, so I would prefer that you put your first and your last name. And then also know that this session will be recorded. So this will allow us to be able to share with you afterwards if you missed anything or want to share with colleagues. Everyone who's attending today does have the opportunity to receive PD credit. So you can earn 1 hour of PD for today's session. That's why it's really important that you fill out the exit ticket. I can also track who's come to today's session. So if I missed you in any way, don't worry, we'll follow up and make sure you get what you need. Also, we have some norms. This is going to be something you're going to hear from all the Connect and Share sessions today. And these norms are to really try to be as present as you can be. We know we have a lot to tackle, myself included, but just try to focus on what the presenters have to say. Come in with an open mind, be willing to explore some new ideas and new tools, and be aware of the intent and impact of what you say, what other people say. And we also want to make sure there's equity of the voice, to listen to everyone in the room. So there's a few different ways that we can do that. We are going to have time at the end for you to unmute yourself and ask the participants questions. They've allocated time for that discussion. But we also say that in between that you use the chat to ask questions or to leave comments. And also you can use the hand raise feature if you feel like you need to, block yourself off for time. We know that this is going to be a big session. We know we're not going to be able to hear everyone's voice, audio voice. However, please use the chat to ask questions. There are 4 of us here who can help answer them for you. Next slide, please. So how did these Connect and Share sessions come to be? They are a joint effort between the BPS Telescope Network and Boston Public Schools Technology. So the Telescope Network has asked educators across BPS 2 key questions. What do you need to learn next? And who are our bright spots? And they build professional learning opportunities around these 2 questions. And one of those questions of who are our bright spots, I would see 3 of those people in the room. If you want to learn more about Telescope, we have a link to their site here. I will also be providing a link to the slide deck shortly. Next slide, please. And then this is also a collaboration with the Boston Public Schools Technology Digital Learning Team. We are a team that is underneath OIIT. And so we specifically focus on supporting our BPS community with their professional learning needs through webinars, coaching, and tips and support with virtual tools and learning. You can learn more about us on our website, bostonpublicschools.org/technology. There are 3 key objectives of all of our sessions for Connect and Share. We want to first hear from presenters about what's been working. So Marjorie, Darlene, and Elizabeth are going to be sharing what has worked for them at their school. We're going to hold a discussion at the end to think about the hows and whys of a practice. And we also want to make sure that you, as an attendee, are going to set a goal for yourself to implement in your school or classroom. If you didn't already know, Seesaw is going to be something that we implement at the district level, so your timing is awesome. So if you feel like you want to implement Seesaw, hopefully the presenters will give you some ideas about a goal for using it in your classroom. All right, next slide. So we've already done all of these introductions, and we're going to just dive right into their presentation. I'm going to pass it over to my 3 colleagues at the Hernandez.
Thank you, Rhiannon. All right. So welcome everyone. We are so glad to see you all and that you are all able to join us today. You know what? Let's take a quick second. Let's give ourselves a big pat on the back. It is 8:30 in the morning on a Thursday in August, and you all seem so ready to learn about this fabulous platform that has truly enhanced our classroom experience so much. And you know what? If you have a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, water, raise it. Raise it with me. Cheers to a successful school year. Thank you all for joining us. Again, it's not so easy to join us at 8:30 in the morning. So let's get started. And I wanted to start real quick, kind of RJ style, restorative justice, with a quick check-in. With your fingers, 1 through 5, how are you doing this morning? 5 is excellent. 4, I'm good. 3, so-so. 2, and 1, I could be better. Awesome. I see a few 5s, 4s, 3s. Awesome. Hopefully by the end, you'll be a 5. So as we talk about Seesaw and its features, we'd like for you to keep this question in mind. Is Seesaw for you? So let's get started. I'm Darlene. I'm a first grade teacher at the Rafael Hernandez School.
And I'm Elizabeth. This is my 6th year going into K2 at the Rafael Hernandez School.
And I'm Marjorie, K1 teacher at the Rafael Hernandez School. And together we are Tres Maestras, Dos Idiomas, and your Seesaw ambassadors. We are so excited to have you all here today, ready to start with great news. As you were told at the beginning of the presentation, Boston Public Schools is moving forward purchasing Seesaw for Schools. This will give all of us the ability to have up to 20 teachers connected per class, unlimited activities in our accounts, and new tools such as school-wide announcements, admin-level support for teachers and students, portfolios that will follow students from grade to grade, access to school and district analytics, and so much more. As long as you have an account with your BPS email, all of your information and data and activities will roll over to your new Seesaw account once the district purchases the license. If you have a Seesaw account with another email that is not a BPS email, you can just change that in the settings. This is a time where teachers get ready for the new school year. So the only ask is that please do not start creating a new account or a new Seesaw classroom, because that new information will not roll over even if you will do it with a BPS email. So Elizabeth, let's start with some housekeeping.
Okay, so Rhiannon mentioned some of these housekeeping rules already, but if you just got in, I'll go over them quickly. So before we go over the agenda, we want to remind you to please rename yourself. We would ask you to please either write the role that you're in or your grade level before your name. So for example, Darlene teaches first grade, so she can rename herself to grade 1 Darlene. The second thing that we're asking is for everyone to please keep yourselves on mute. You can find that on the bottom bar of your screen. Although we know that questions might come up, so we don't want you to forget them. Feel free to type them into the chat and we'll try to answer them as we go. But if the chat does become very popular and we're having trouble keeping up, don't worry, like Rhiannon said, we will have time for questions and answers at the end of the presentation. All right, Marjorie, agenda.
So here at Connect and Share, the purpose is to share our humble opinion using the Seesaw platform. Today, we will start explaining for those of you that are new to it, what is Seesaw? We will highlight some of the Seesaw features and how to use them very superficially. And then we are gonna talk about our experience, what worked and what we will want to try next school year. We are gonna share with you resources in addition to our slide deck. And also we will allocate a lot of time for Q&A. Tenemos la casa llena esta mañana, así que tomemos ventaja del tiempo y comencemos. Let's get started.
Awesome. Thank you, Marjorie, and thank you, Elizabeth. Now, let's get to know each other a little bit with a quick poll. You're going to see in a few seconds 3 questions come up. We want to know if you're a grade teacher, what grade do you teach, how familiar you are with Seesaw, and what languages your family speak. So you should have gotten a pop-up. Just fill it in. And if you're just joining us, after you fill the poll, you can rename yourself to your grade or role before your name. That would be awesome. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess you can only choose one language for the language your family speak. I'm sure there's more than one.
We see here that there are a lot of colleagues that are in the K0, K2 band. So you are in the right place. However, if you teach other grade levels, don't worry, Seesaw is for all of us.
So it looks like we have, most of our participants are from K through 2nd grade. However, like Marjorie said, welcome everyone. Seesaw is for everyone, and we are going to touch on many points to address every grade. I'm really excited that no one said I'm an expert, because I would have handed over the presentation to you. A lot of us are in the what's that area, or I know the basics. This is definitely a good place to start. And then as I figured, Spanish is the most spoken language in the classrooms by families. So we'll share a little tool / freebie at the end with you. So stick around with us. Now, without further ado, let's get started by answering probably the simplest question. Elizabeth.
What is Seesaw? We're gonna watch this quick little video to tell us a little bit more.
Welcome to Seesaw. Seesaw is a portfolio that your student will use to showcase what they're learning and doing at school and share that with you, their family. They'll add photos, videos, drawings, voice recordings, notes, and much more to their learning journal. And you'll be able to see their amazing work right on your phone or computer whenever they post something new. Students love Seesaw because they're able to show what they know with lots of different tools and share their work with meaningful audiences, all while practicing those super important 21st century skills. Teachers love Seesaw because they're able to gain insights from all of their students, see student growth, and have all that classwork organized in one place. Parents love Seesaw because they can be closer to the classroom without being there every day and really understand how their student is doing. Teachers and parents are always in control of how student information is shared. Once you've connected to your child's account using the special invite code or link from your child's teacher, you can view all of their posted work. You'll only see your own child's work and messages that your teacher sends home. When something new is added, you'll get a notification. You can decide if you want notifications via email, push, or text message. Notifications can come each time something new is added or just once a day. You choose the settings you prefer. Once you follow the Seesaw notification, you can see what's going on in the classroom in real time. Teachers can also turn on options for you to like and comment on your child's work to encourage their learning.
And what's great about families being able to add their likes and comments is that it gets the kids really excited and super proud to be able to share their work with anyone. And the other thing that I really like is that you can add up to 10 different family members. It doesn't matter if they're in the same state or not. They can be from anywhere in the country, and you can add those family members in so that they can also like and comment on student work. Let's go to the next slide.
All right, so let's talk about the features in Seesaw. On this slide, we find the Seesaw Creative Tools. Creative tools are designed to empower students to think creatively and better demonstrate their learning. This is ideal for remote learning, and we all know that we need to provide students with choice. You, parents, and your students can add photos, videos, drawings, files from computer or from the drive, a note with a voice message embedded in it, or links to any Seesaw classroom using these tools. We also have icon shortcuts that you see at the bottom of the slide. This picture here in the slide deck has a link that you can access at the end of our presentation. You can write text shortcuts, and when you save your activity, the icons will turn into emojis. This is awesome for our early emerging readers, ESL students, special education students, and for families. This facilitates the learning and clarify and make the instructions easier to understand. Seesaw activities are also, with all these features, are very easy to differentiate according to grade level or abilities. We see here two pictures. The first one is a K2 activity that we're gonna see the response of one of our K2 students. And the second one is from an ESL classroom where the teacher asks the students to work around vocabulary words, where the students get to define the word, writing tests, doing it with voice messages and illustrations. Let's look at the activity Piensa, dibuja, y describe. Think, draw, and write. Let's listen to the answer from these students in the next slide. Here the student had to look at the picture, think, what happened to the chair? And then they have to draw and write about it. Let's see what he said.
Un persona más muy grande, siéntate en la silla.
So the student submits the work and then the teacher receives the answers, and we are able to respond back either with a comment or with another voice message. In this case, the student said that maybe someone too big sat on it and that's why it broke. This is an incredible tool. I really like it because during remote learning, students were able to listen to my voice, or I could even respond with a video, providing feedback to the student. Or if the student needs to do something different or change it, I can send back the activity to the student so they can modify it. This example is an activity that you can use for writers workshop and that students can use during remote learning or once we get back to the building.
Awesome. So let's get into family communication engagement. This is truly one of my favorite features of Seesaw. It gives a way to communicate with families and engage them into student learning. Here we have two screenshots, and it's actually the view of a family member. It is pretty straightforward for them. They have three tabs: home, journals, and inbox. Home, which includes what was recently posted. Journals is where families can see what their student posts or activities they respond to. And inbox is like a text message between you and the teacher. Oh, sorry, between the family member and the teacher. And aside from it being a great tool to facilitate communication with families, it's a great tool for teachers because it helps them keep data and records. So instead of using other platforms to keep your text messages, you have all your messages in one place, and it makes it easier for families as well to not have to go between, say, email and other platforms. So they have it all in one place, and it's easier for them to keep track of. Also, when families sign up, they add their email address, but they can also add their phone numbers to get notifications, get text when a message has been sent, an activity has been posted, or an announcement has been sent. And most importantly, if family members have more than one student in the school that is using Seesaw, they are able to switch back and forth in the journal tab between their students. So that is a great feature because now they can use it for as many students as they have. And it's, again, all in one place. So let's talk about another favorite, Seesaw blogs.
Yes. So Seesaw blogs is a great way so that students have a bigger audience. I've thought about 3 different ways to use it. I've only used one so far though, which is being able to use Seesaw to share work with the specialist team. So during the spring, our specialist team was using Google Classroom, and some of our parents were having a little bit of a hard time using Google Classroom. So I thought it would be a great idea for Seesaw to kind of be a one-stop shop for all families and students. And so what I did was create folders for each one of the specialists: art, music, gym, movement. I think I'm missing one, art. And every time a student turned something in for them, I would just tag that folder and then share it in the blog. And what's great about it is that you can make the blog as private or as public as you want. It has its own URL that you can share with as many people that you would like. And you can also password protect the blog if you want to limit the audience. Another way that you can use Seesaw is by sharing it with another classroom. This might be a classroom inside of your district, or maybe as simple as another classroom that's inside of your school building. I haven't done this yet, but I've been thinking that at my school, for example, we have an open house night that we call Science Night, where our students are able to share with their families everything that they learned about a certain animal for that science unit. For example, my students study penguins, and Darlene's class studies all about the ocean. So I think it would be a great idea if I can connect blogs with Darlene, and her students can give my students feedback, or even ask my students more questions to kind of engage them and get them thinking a little bit deeper about what they're learning. Another way that you can use Seesaw blogs is to share your work with the world. So you can give your students a global audience, and our school is a bilingual school, so my students, we are pretty much all day in Spanish. We do a small part of the day in English. So wouldn't it be great if I can have my students share what they're learning with another classroom from across the world that is doing a similar project? What if I can connect them with the classroom from Puerto Rico or a classroom from Spain? It would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? I'll have to give that a try. I haven't done that yet. Let's go on to the next slide.
If you approve that the item can be added to the class blog, tap the green check mark. Now it's been added to the blog. If you switch to the blog tab, we can see the item there and any item that we've previously published. You can delete items off of your blog from the blog view by tapping the blog icon and choosing remove. And now our item's been deleted off of our blog. It's so easy to publish and remove items from your Seesaw class blog. Your students can also view your blog by clicking on the blog tab in their Seesaw app or on the Seesaw website. Other visitors can visit your blog on the web by typing in your blog URL to any browser. And don't forget, for each new year when you create your new class, you need a new blog with a new URL. Sharing your blog URL is a perfect way to share your favorite classroom work with your broader school and other classrooms and learning communities around the world.
Elizabeth, before we go on, Natalie had a quick question. She says, can you speak a little more on the blog, especially as it pertains to the specialist? So maybe explain how the specialist had the assignment and the kid submitted it and you just typed it.
Yeah, so each week the specialist kind of gave us a little blurb of what they wanted their assignments to be. We converted their assignments into Seesaw activities and we shared it with families. So once I created the folders within Seesaw that Marjorie will talk about in a few slides, I was able to tag the response that the student submitted to one of the folders. So if a student submitted them practicing to a dance move, a dance choreography, I would tag that student's response to the dance folder, and then all I would do, like the video showed, just click on that little globe icon and it would automatically submit it to the blog. Now, once in the blog, the specialists were able to use that URL link to access the blog and filter the assignments according to the different classes. So the dance teacher can click on the dance folder and she was able to see all of the dance responses from my classroom. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, so Elizabeth, I don't know if I'm allowed to elaborate on my question a little bit.
Sure.
So it sounds like you did all of the editing and kind of all the back and forth with this Seesaw. Was this connected to their Google Classroom at all, or is it just that they then stopped using their Google Classroom and focused on Seesaw? I'm just trying to understand like the workload for both the teacher and the specialist.
Yeah, so something that we did as a team we were working with the K1 teachers and the K2 teachers. So what we did was divide the work, and we each took on one specialist, and we would convert their activity into a Seesaw activity. And we were not using Google Classroom at all, but some of the specialists were. So if the specialist, for example, had a Google Classroom activity or a Google Classroom form or link, what we would do was just copy and paste that link into the Seesaw activity so that parents can access that Google Classroom link from Seesaw. So they don't have to go, so they can just click on it and then it'll take them there. But this year, since we are possibly going to be required to use Google Classroom, what we're thinking is just using that little icon like Seesaw, or even putting the Seesaw icon into Clever so that students can access Seesaw that way as well. So we just want it to be very easy and clickable. One click takes you to wherever else it is that you need to go. So we were just trying to connect the two.
Also, you can add more than one teacher. So with the Seesaw for Schools, I believe you can add up to 10. Correct me if I'm wrong, Marjorie. 20, which means that you can add specialists as a co-teacher, and they can be the ones that are posting these activities for the students.
Right, but we didn't have that in the spring, but we go now, so.
Yeah, so hopefully now that once we have the district license, a student is gonna have one account, and in that one account, if every teacher has a Seesaw classroom, they will be able, with just one login, which will be their BPS email, they can access the classroom for a specialist, their homeroom teacher, and everyone that is connected to that student. All right, so let's move forward with another great Seesaw feature. We have discussed how Seesaw features can help us stay communicated with students and families, differentiate activities for a variety of learners, and showcase student work through blogs. So let's talk about portfolios. There is no secret that it's very important to keep data of our students' progress so we can communicate it to them and to their families. You can browse for work from the entire class in the portfolios, or you can also look at the work in individual students' portfolios. I highly recommend, when you are setting, once we have the account, your classroom, to, before adding any students, to set your portfolios. Decide if you want them by subject area, by project. You can also do portfolios for RTI groups. A common question I was seeing in the chat is also with the connection with Google Classroom. If you have, once we receive our class list, if you have a list of your students, you can upload that into Seesaw and it will automatically transfer. Seesaw portfolios are a great asset for parent-teacher conferences and even for student-led conferences. Families have access to these portfolios through their family app, and they will receive notifications of each assignment that has been submitted by the student. My favorite thing about portfolios, other than keeping data organized and available at all times, is that you can print a PDF of the assignments. For example, if I choose to see the portfolio of one of my students in the area of math, I click on that folder, math folder, and then I click print PDF. It will print all the assignments in that folder for math. But not only that, it will also create a QR code for each activity. This is mind-blowing for me because it's so easy And then I can use that, or the families can use that to share those activities with their relatives, for example. If we are in a family conference, we can use that PDF if we want to do it in the old way with paper. We just hover our phone over it, and then the camera will read the activity, and that QR code will be showing you if the student submitted a drawing, the voice notes. It will also be available for videos. You do not need to have a Seesaw account in order to be able to read those QR codes. Darlene, can you talk to us more about other Seesaw features?
Absolutely. So let's talk about a few other tools available on Seesaw. Here we see this is an announcement that was sent by a teacher, and the See Translation button is circled. So it's pretty simple. If a note, caption, comment, announcement, or message is written in a language different from the language of the viewer's device or computer, a See Translation option appears below the post. By the way, there are over 55 languages to choose from already on Seesaw, which is awesome. What's great about this feature is that it's available on all platforms, iOS, so Apple, Android, Kindle, and the web. And for us teachers and families, the See Translation option only appears for teachers and families and not students. Also, families are able to respond or comment to a message or an announcement with a voice memo. Let's be honest, sometimes it's easier when we're on the go to add a voice message instead of typing a full response. By the way, you can modify your settings so that all posts and comments have to be approved by you before they are posted on Seesaw. I made sure that was a setting in my first grade class. Now, Seesaw Skills tool. This is an amazing tool that we all look forward to using in September. You can actually keep track of what skills or standards your students are working toward and tag them on activities and responses to activities that students send. Also, you can select a color scheme to arrange your standards, just makes life easier. And you can rate the skills you've added based on how the students did. If an activity or if a skill has a low rating, you can certainly add more activities to practice that particular standard. And I have included a link on the skills image with easy to follow instruction on adding a skill, tagging a skill for a new post, tagging a skill for an existing post. And don't worry, the slide deck will be shared with all of you. So in this quick video, we're going to see how to create a new skill.
To create a new skill, tap the blue Add New Skill button. Enter the skill information and tap the green check to confirm. Your skills will now have your new color scheme and star rating and will be visible.
Yes, I will talk a little more about it, Diana. So let me just go back to this quick video. At the end, you saw a nice table that Seesaw creates. This is to actually keep track of the standards you've added and to see which students or how many students responded to that standard. It's another great way to keep data. Under the informations part where you add the skill, you can also add the Common Core standard abbreviation where it says quick code for quick reference, and because that is what we use in BPS. So Diana, we haven't used this fully, but it is a great way to include your Common Core standards to all these activities that you're posting. Now let's talk about our experience. We want to tell you what worked and what we plan on trying out for this school year. Marjorie.
So yes, so what worked? Communication with families was easy. And I particularly am very picky about keeping records of text messages and phone calls. And if you are an early childhood educator, you know that that's constant, the testing, the calling. I don't like to have all that information in my personal phone. So Seesaw was great for that. I still personally gave my phone number to families, but they got so used to use the app that they were sending me voice messages, text messages through the app, or even videos and photos of their kids doing their work, etc. So all that data was kept in the Seesaw app, and I will have access to it whenever I want it. Also, we really like the flexibility of modalities for students and teachers. As we mentioned, it's really good and important to provide a choice to our students. So you are also able to create choice boards just like you do in Google Classroom. You can link videos, and they can choose also, unless you specify according to the objective of the activity, how they are going to show their learning when they are replying back to the activity. As we talk, we really enjoy having digital portfolios and having all that data compiled there and always accessible to share with our families during our conferences. We have an access to an activity library. Seesaw Activity Library contains more than 1,500 activities created, used, and submitted by Seesaw Teachers Ambassadors. Now that we're gonna get Seesaw for Schools, all of us are gonna get access to those activities. The library is arranged by grade and subject. We're gonna show you a video shortly on how does that look. When you find an activity that you like, you simply tap on it and it will be automatically saved into your own library. Then you can edit and make it your own. In our bilingual classrooms, it's part of our work is that we are so used to create our own, and you can do that. But sometimes, why to reinvent the wheel? So I will go to the library, the Seesaw library, and then I will see what activity will match with the objectives that I wanted to cover with my students. I will save it in my own, and then I will edit it, add my own video explaining the activities to the kids, maybe tweak a couple of things, write the instructions in Spanish, and also save a voice message for my students in Spanish. And families, you can have a template, you can make it your own, modify it. And that was a great way to learn how to create my own activities and look at other teachers' activities around the world, not only in Boston or the United States, but around the world. They have activities for all grade levels, from K to 12th grade, and from many subjects. So I really recommend you to use that feature. So Elizabeth, so what would we like to try next year?
Yes, so we as a team gathered 5 different ideas of what we would like to try next. One of the first ones is just creating short clips or a series of short little videos to share with our families so that they can become more comfortable with the use of Seesaw. We've actually already sort of gotten started with this, and we'll share a little bit more about that at the end of the presentation. Another thing that we would like to try is using more of the skills feature to be able to connect those Common Core standards to the assignments that the students are doing, and also trying out unconventional ways to use them. I saw a video of a teacher that used the skills feature to be able to keep track of attendance. And we've actually linked the video here on that word that says attendance. It actually has a link that leads you to be able to watch that video if it's something that you would also like to try. We also want to be a little bit more intentional about the way that we use our Seesaw folders so that we are able to keep track of student work for different subjects so that we can use them for conferences with either students or families. Another thing that we want to do, like I mentioned, I did my first time trying blogs was in the spring, and I only used it to be able to connect the work that students were doing for the specialist with the specialist, but I want to become more creative on how I'm using blogs, like I mentioned earlier, maybe using blogs to be able to connect with other classrooms within my building, my district, or maybe across the world in a different country or state. And over this summer, Seesaw actually released a few more updates and extra features that we have not used yet. So it's something that I would really like to try. These include being able to add multiple videos and multiple links within the same Seesaw activity inside of the same page. So I have not tried that yet, and it's something that I'm really excited about. On the next slide, you'll be able to see a list of different resources that you can take a look at a little bit later. Darlene, can you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, so these activity examples were actually handpicked by us to share with you. All of K through second activities were created by us. And then we chose a variety of subjects from 3 to 8. Basically, so you can see that you can turn whatever you want into an activity. You can even use an activity to teach the students how to use the creative tools. Also, the word activities is a link to the activity library for you to enjoy when you can. You can see that you can see what you can find that suits your class or what you're working on. Maybe the beginning of the year theme in September you use. And even if it's not perfect fit, you can always modify it. Best of all, you do not need to be registered to enjoy and browse. Also, when you have a second, you can see this quick video. It just shows you how easy it is to find activities created by our Seesaw ambassadors. Like Marjorie said, why reinvent the wheel? And remember, you can modify what's already created to fit the needs of your students and to decide what you want your students to practice. So we see that we have so many options. You can even schedule when you want the activities to be assigned, which was another great feature that I used in my classroom. So we want to make sure we have time for Q&A. Sorry, the last bit was a bit rushed. So we're going to open up the floor for questions. Also, in case you are interested in learning more about Seesaw, BPS is having PD sessions. If you'd like to check them out, you can click on those links at the bottom of the Q&A page. So for the questions, we will, you can raise your hand or you can add them to the chat. We are going to try our best. We have a lot of people on here and we will try our best to answer the questions. Some questions we can refer you to the help.seesaw.me? Yes, help.seesaw.me has a ton of answers, of questions and answers that might be beneficial to you. So any questions?
Hi there. You just said we can click on those links, but is this PowerPoint going to be shared on a central server?
Yes, it will be shared on the Connect app or the Connect website, the one you use to register.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Rhiannon, maybe you can put it on the chat for them as well, just to have it in a quick place.
And also, please don't be afraid to reach out. You can reach out to us, the three of us. We are a community of learners. We have been using Seesaw. That was one of the questions for 3 years now. But each year we have been learning more skills. And Seesaw, every summer they update their features, like Elizabeth said. So we're going to be sharing our contact information. Reach out with any questions so we can support as much as we can, because we know how to use the platform where we are also learning with you.
Hi. When I was using Seesaw in the spring, some of the activities in their library might have not been linked okay. So you know, in the first couple of weeks, it was frustrating because my students would be like, oh, this is not opening up. The directions are not okay. Or if you were translating, the spaces were kind of messed up. So double check all their activities in their community, in the community library. So that's my advice.
That's right. Thank you, Christiana. Steve, yes, you can upload PowerPoints into Seesaw activities. So I know someone, oh, Jen?
Hi, good morning. Thank you very much for this presentation. I was just wondering how closely, I follow Focus on K2 very closely. How easily was it to take what Marina in the early childhood department and upload it to, because like I was thinking a big barrier that we had was the, oh, I can't remember what it is now that it's my turn to talk. It was the subject where they had to go out and like look and then draw about it. Like how easily did the Focus on K2 tasks get put onto Seesaw?
Christiana, do you want to answer it?
Yeah, help me out. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I actually used, I linked all their videos. And my kids, I would actually be very specific about how I wanted my kids to do it. So in the beginning, I wouldn't tell them, use your journal. And a few of my kids that were a little more advanced or had a mom that was a teacher, they would do these fancy videos or these fancy pictures. Then I would have kids struggling. So I would actually record myself, record the directions and say, please use, if you are with an adult and an adult could help you take a picture or video, do that. But if you don't, draw a picture and take a picture of you with your journal. And my kids loved it because we would use it in our whole group and we would share it. But I linked to everything. And when the early childhood department would have an English and a Spanish, I would put both side to side.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I know a question in the chat was if it's easy to create. The Seesaw is actually very easy to create for teachers, and it's super easy as a family member to sign up. So just to clarify a little bit, I don't want to go off into this explanation because it can be a little confusing. There is a Seesaw Family app that is just for family members to use. They only see what I showed you in that screen, the home, journals, and inbox option. And then there's a Seesaw Class app, which is what students use to see activities, post activities, and respond to them.
And these are our apps, but they can access either parents or students through a desktop to the computer. They don't need to have it in an iPad or in their cell phone.
I'm sorry, I had a question. It's Miss Elise. I just don't know how to raise my hand. I don't know if it's the clap or the
No worries.
I had just a couple questions. So I know you said, did you say you had Google Classroom and Seesaw at the same time?
The specialist used Google Classroom, but because we use Seesaw, Elizabeth particularly found a way to integrate the folders for the specialist in the blogs.
Okay. And then, so that gets me into my other question. For specialists, would they be able to use, like, create their own Seesaw classroom? Like, would that be something that's, I'm just thinking, I know they see, like, usually they see more than 30 kids, clearly. Right. They see, like, the whole school or half the school, they see large numbers. So would it is it doable that they would have, like, art or, physical education Seesaw classroom that then they could use with kids or integrate into our class? So I'm just wondering, like, how they can be I'm just wondering how I don't need to take on a lot of, like, posting their work, because I know I'll be crazy with my own. And so I'm just trying to figure that, if you have any insight into that. Thank you.
Yeah, I know that the feedback from the specialists in our school was that because they have over 400 students, it was very difficult to create their own Seesaw for their classes. So what I did different from Elizabeth was they would post their activities on Google Classroom, and then they would also send it in an email, and I'd post the link as an announcement to students and families. So that was a little bit different from Elizabeth, but it's just sending a link out for the families to have access and the students to have access to the activity.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. Anyone else have questions? If you don't, I want to show you, we have a few minutes. I want to show you what a activity looks like. It's all thumbs up, might be a good thing, right? So we'll open this math one. So this is a math activity that Elizabeth created, and she actually used a variety of tools here of the shortcut icons to explain how to get the work done or how to send the work also. And she also included a voice recording. So I'll play it real quick, it's 40 seconds.
Hello, K2. For this math activity, we will be working on addition and subtraction word problems. First, listen to each word problem carefully. Then, use the highlighter to highlight keywords and numbers that help you understand the problem. Move the pictures and use the drawing tools to help show your work. Write a number sentence, also known as the equation. When you're done, use the mic to record yourself answering the question in a full sentence.
And she also added in the template herself reading the two problems to the kids, which I think is pretty helpful for K2 students that can't read yet. So feel free to check out these activities. I also did a Eric Carle study. We usually do it for Young Authors Night, but it was a little different this year. It's one of our open houses due to being remote. So I used sentences from the book for my intervention group, for my RTI group, where they read the words in the box and then they created the same sentence. And an art activity to follow up the Busy Spider book. And then they can use it as a retell. So it's pretty, it's a big range what you can do with Seesaw in these activities. Any more questions before we finish off? We want to make sure we respect your time.
I had one
I
more.
provide that sign-up sheet at the beginning of the session again, or do we need to do that if we just did the exit ticket?
I believe Rhiannon posted the sign-up sheet. Maybe she can post it again so that it's freshly in your chat box.
Yes, you will definitely need to fill out both the sign-in sheet and the exit ticket. I would say that the exit ticket is the most important one because you want to make sure you get credit for being here today. But I just posted the sign-in sheet right now in the chat. We are also just trying to be mindful of the time. I wanted to give a big round of applause to all of our 3 presenters. They did a fabulous job. It's an honor to learn with and from you. So please know that this is not your only opportunity to ask these questions. We had a very lively chat, and we will be sharing the transcript with the 3 presenters so they can answer any questions that didn't get addressed. And we can share that with you all, as well as the link to the slides, the recording, and the exit ticket, just in case. So that way you can get credit for being here. We also have more learning opportunities for you next week around Seesaw. Now, these three ladies are not the trainers. However, I'm going to advocate that they have more opportunities to share their practice because this is a fabulous presentation. So thank you all, and we'll see you at the next Connect and Share, hopefully. Thank you, Darlene, Elizabeth, and Marjorie.
Really quick, before we send you off to enjoy your day, we guided you through the basics of Seesaw features and how we use it in our classroom. So we want you to think back and circle back to the question that we gave you at the beginning. Is Seesaw for you? Also, we want to thank you so much for joining us today. You guys had great questions. Follow us on social media at Tres Maestras Dos Idiomas for great resources for yourself and for your families. And like Rhiannon said, stay tuned for more webinars. Also, most importantly, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, we already uploaded some videos instructing families how to register for Seesaw in Spanish with English subtitles. Please share it with your Spanish-speaking families. And also, if there's anyone here that speaks another language, please collaborate and add subtitles in other languages so we can reach more BPS families. We thank you again, and we hope you have a successful school year.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.